Okay, guys. I am sorry that I am not there today. I am home with a sick child who's actually very sick and will have to stay home from school until Monday. So, no fun there, but I'll be there tomorrow. So, um, don't get your hopes up for having a sub for, 3 days. Okay, so we are talking today. Last night, you should have watched a video that was like part one of writing the equations of lines. You should have watched and taken your notes on how to write an equation of a line if you're given slope and the y-intercept, and how to, I think that was it actually. Yeah, slope and the y-intercept. So today we're going to talk about how to write an equation of a line if you are given m and a point, and also how to write the equation of a line if you're given 2 points. So this can get a little bit tricky. I want you guys to really pay attention and take your time when you are working out these problems, because there's a couple steps that you need to follow. But before we talk about those couple steps, you need to understand a few fundamental truths. Okay, if we know that y equals mx plus b is the slope-intercept form of a line, this is the format that I want you to write your equations of a line in. M and B will always be numbers. They will always be known values. M will most likely be a fraction because the slope will be the rise over the run. And B should most likely be a whole number. It might not, but most likely it will. And if B is not there, then you know that B is 0, right? Because we're not going to write 0. It's just a waste of time and energy. So when we are figuring out how to write the equation of a line, given slope and a point or given 2 points, it is critically important to remember that in the end, your final equation of the line should have a number in the spot where the m is and should have a number in the spot where the b is. And x and y should remain as x and y in that equation. There should not be numbers in place of x and y. So in this equation of your line, you're going to have two variables, y and x, and you're going to have two numbers in place of m and in place of b. Okay, you have to understand that concept to be able to utilize this method. So when we are figuring this out, the steps are right here in your notes. You are going to substitute the slope for m, and you will substitute the point for x and y. Well, what does that mean? If you are given a point, you know that the first number is the x value and the second number is the y value. So you'll plug those numbers in. Whatever you're given first in the point, you will plug in for the x, and whatever you're given second in the point, you will plug in for the y. Once you do that, once you plug in the number for the m, the x, and the y, b will be your only variable, and then you can solve for b. You are given the slope. You're solving for b. Once you figure those two things out, then you can rewrite the equation with b and m as the known values. All right, so let's try a couple. M equals 2, which you know means 2 over 1, but we'll get there. And the point is 2, 3. So that means my x value is 2 and my y value is 3. So if my equation is y equals mx plus b, then I'm going to take my y value, fill it in. I'm going to take my m value, fill it in. I'm going to take my x value, fill it in, and I'm going to solve for b. So 3 equals 4 plus b. Squeeze this in here. Subtract 4 and subtract 4. That means that 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So my b value equals negative 1. And I know, because I'm given, my slope is 2. And now I'm going to rewrite this equation. Y equals the m value of 2, the x variable, and -1 for my b. And that's, what am I doing? That is my answer. Okay? Let's try a couple more. My m value, or my slope, is 1 over 2, and my point is 4, -3, so that means x is 4, -3 is y. My equation, y equals mx plus b, I will be able to fill in all the values except for b because that's what I'm looking for. So my y is -3, my m is 1/2, my x is 4, plus b. So 1/2 times 4, what's 1/2 times 4? What is 1/2 of 4? The answer is 2. Okay, and I'm going to subtract 2, subtract 2. -3 minus 2 is the same thing as -3 plus -2, so -5 equals b. So my b value is -5. My m was given to me as 1/2. So now I can rewrite this equation. Y remains as a variable. M is 1/2. X remains as a variable. B is -5. That was a much better box. I don't know what happened with that other one. Okay, I'm going to work out the rest of these examples so that you can see how this all is going to go. All right. I'm given what is that? I'm given -2 as m, and then my x and my y, -5 and 3. I want you to write x and y above the numbers in the points until you get the hang of just being able to visually identify them and not having to do that anymore. Okay, so my equation is y equals mx plus b. I can fill in 3 for y. I can fill in -2 for m. And I can fill in -5 for x. And I'm solving for b. -2 times -5, a negative times a negative is going to be a positive number. 2 times 5 is 10. And I'm going to solve for b by getting rid of the 10. b equals -7. M was given to me as -2, so my equation, y stays as a variable, -2 is filled in, x stays as a variable, -7 is the b value. Example number 4. 1 is x, 4 is y. My equation is y equals mx plus b. I'm going to fill in the y. I'm going to fill in the m that I was given. And I'm going to fill in the x. And I'm going to solve for b. 4 equals 4 plus b. Subtract 4, subtract 4. This cancels. 4 minus 4 is 0. So my y-intercept is 0. The m that I was given was 4. Y stays as a variable. M is 4. X stays as a variable. B is 0. You could also write this as just y equals 4x, because if the 0 is not written, we know it means 0. Okay, are we getting the hang of this? I want you to pause this video and work out the other 4, and then check and see if your answers are right once you have them worked out. And this is the honor system because I'm not there to check and see if you're going to do it, but I want you to pause, work out these 4, and then play the video and see if you've gotten them right. So pause the video now and start it again in just a minute. All right. Here we go. Y equals mx plus b. M is 1/2. My -1 is my x. My -2 is my y. So I will fill this in. -2 is y. M is 1/2. X is -1 plus b. And I'm going to go ahead and solve for b. So 1/2 times -1 is -1/2. I've got -2 equals -1/2 plus b. I will add 1/2 to cancel it out from this side, but I have to add it to this side as well. So that means that b equals 2.5. And the slope that I was given was 1/2. So my equation, y stays as a variable, 1/2 is the slope, x stays as the variable, plus 2.5, which you could also write as 5/2. Either one. So y equals 1/2 x plus 2.5, or 5/2 is what you should have gotten for number 5. Okay, let's keep the train rolling. Y equals mx plus b. X is 0, y is 3, m is 2. So 3 equals 2 times 0 plus b. 3 equals 0 plus b. Well, that means that b equals 3. B equals 3, and I was given the slope of 2. Y stays as a variable. M is 2. X stays as a variable. 3 is my y-intercept. All right, last two. Here we go. Y equals mx plus b. I'm given 3 as my slope. 3 is also x. Y is 0. 0 equals 3 times 3 plus b. 0 equals 9 plus b. Subtract 9 and subtract 9. And I get -9 equals b. The slope that I was given was 3. Y stays as a variable. 3 was my m. X stays as a variable. -9 is my y-intercept. All right. Excuse me. And my last one. Okay. So I've got m equals -2/3 and the point 3/6. Y equals mx plus b. 3 is x. 6 is y. 6 equals -2/3 times 3 plus b. So 6 equals -2/3 times 3 is going to be -2. How do we know it's -2? -2/3 times 3 over 1. Well, that gives me -6 over 3 because I multiply across and across. And -6 divided by 3 is -2. So -2 plus b. I will add 2 and add 2, and that's going to give me 8 equals b. So 8 equals b. I was given -2/3 for m. So I'm going to rewrite. Y stays as the variable. -2/3 is my slope. X stays as the variable, plus 8. Whew. All right. That was a decent amount of mathing we just did there. Pretty good. The thing that I really want you to remember, and as you can see from all of these answers that we just worked out, when you are writing the equation in its final form, y stays as the variable, x stays as the variable. You were given the m value, and the b value is the only thing that you had to do any math to figure out. All right? It's a lot of work for just rewriting a bunch of stuff that you were already given, but that's okay. All right. So let's talk about horizontal and vertical lines and writing their equations. We already know that if we're writing an equation of vertical, or we already know that horizontal and vertical lines, we use Hooy-Vux for that. If the line that you are given on a graph is horizontal, then you know it is passing through the y-axis, and it's got a slope of 0. If the line that you're looking at is vertical, then you know that it's passing through the x-axis, and it's an undefined slope. So if you're given 2 points, this is the best, because you can see the 3 and the 3 matches. If this is x, and this is y, and this is x, and this is y, I don't even have to do any math. I know that this line is passing through the y-axis at the point of 3, because both of these points, if we put them on the graph, we would go over to the right and up 3, and we would go over 4 to the right and up 3. So it's passing through the y-axis at the point of 3. It is a horizontal line. So my equation that I'm writing is just y equals 3. That's the y-intercept, and there's a 0 for slope. I am missing the mx from here, which means that the m must be 0. 0 times x would be 0. I'm not going to waste my time and energy writing it. So the absence of the mx portion means that it is a horizontal line. It's just passing through that vertical axis at the point of 3. Okay? So this one tells me that m is 0 and the point is 1 and 4. So we can actually do the math for this. There's no trick like spotting the matching y's. Instead, we'll do what we just did. Y equals mx plus b. All right, well, y is 4 and x is 1. 4 equals the slope of 0 times x plus b. Well, that means 4 equals b. So I would write that. Y stays. I put in 0 for slope. X stays. Plus 4. Now I can eliminate this term because 0 times x will be 0. Y equals 4. Oops. That's technically the way to write them. All right, so what if we have 0.22 and 2,4? Well, just like we had matching y's over here, now we have matching x's. If I've got x, that means I've got a vertical line with undefined slope. So in this case, this would go to the x value of 2 and up 2, or the x value of 2 and up 4 in my imaginary graph that I'm doing here with these little points. So you know that your line is vertical and you're crossing through the x-axis at the point of 2, which means my equation is now x equals 2. And let's prove that by doing the actual math. My slope is undefined and my point is negative 2, 5. Well, if I've got y equals mx plus b, that means I've got 5 equals, how do I write an undefined slope? That's the problem here. I can't. Right? I can't write that. So what do? I don't have a slope. I have negative 2 in here for x. That's actually going to wind up being my b value because this equation doesn't work out. And I'm just going to write this as x equals negative 2. This isn't real. It's undefined. There's no way for me to define it in these equation terms. All right, last but not least. How do we write an equation of a line if we are given 2 points instead of slope and 1 point? Remember this? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equals slope. Well, we're going to have to do that to find the slope. And then, just like we did on the last page, we'll pick one of those points to substitute in and solve for b. So this is a little more work, but that's okay. We're all very capable. Example number 1, this is my x1 and my y1. This is my x2 and my y2. So I'm going to subtract 5 minus 3 over 4 minus 2. And that is going to give me 2 over 2, which is going to give me a slope of 1. So I've got m equals 1. Now I'm going to pick a set of points. I'll pick this 1, 2, 3, just because it's the first one. That's my x and my y. I'm going to fill in y equals mx plus b. My y is 3. My slope is 1. I just found it. And my x is 2. Plus b, 3 equals 2. Plus b minus 2. I'm solving for b by getting rid of everything else. And I've got 1 equals b. Well, if 1 equals b and 1 equals m, y will stay as y. X is 1, or I'm sorry, m is 1. X stays as x. And b is plus 1. So you can rewrite that as y equals x plus 1. You don't have to write 1x. Okay, let's do another one. X and y, this is 1, this is 2. So we're going to do 15 minus 3 and negative 4 minus 2. 15 minus 3, negative 4 minus 2. 15 minus 3 is 12. Negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. I can reduce this down, so my slope is negative 2. Again, I'm going to pick my first set of points for my x and y, and I'm going to substitute in to y equals mx plus b. Y is 3. M we just found to be negative 2. X is 2. I'm solving for b. 3 equals negative 4 plus b. Add 4, and we get b equals 7. Write y as a variable, fill in the m value that you know, write x as a variable, fill in the b value that you know. M and b are the only two known values in these equations. You're writing x, you're writing y, and then m will be a number and b will be a number. Okay, couple more. I want you to pause the video and I want you to work these out on your own and then start again once you have some answers that you can check. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 minus 2 and 0 minus 2. And we'll have 4 minus 2 over 0 minus 2. That will give me 2 over negative 2. My slope will be negative 1. I'm going to use the point 2, 2, and I'm going to rewrite y equals mx plus b with the values that I know. 2 equals negative 1 times 2 plus b. 2 equals negative 2 plus b. I'm going to add 2 and add 2. That'll cancel that out here, and that'll give me 4 equals b. My m is negative 1. My b is 4. Keep the y as a variable. Fill in the m. Keep the x as a variable. Fill in the b. Y equals negative 1x plus 4, or you could write y equals negative x plus 4. Either one. Okay, so x and y. This is the 1 and this is the 2. I'm going to do 4 minus 3 and 1 minus 2. And this is going to give me 1 over negative 1. That's my slope. All right, and I'm going to use this first set of points to fill in the known values. I know the x and I know the y. So the y is 3. The slope we just found was negative 1. The x is 2. We're solving for b. 3 equals negative 2 plus b. I want b by itself, so I'll add 2 and add 2. That'll cancel out the 2 on this side and give me 5 equals b. So I have a negative 1 slope and a 5 y-intercept. Y stays as a variable. Negative 1 is my slope. X stays as a variable. And 5 is my y-intercept. Again, this could be y equals negative x plus 5. Either one of those works. And last but not least, 2 minus 5, and 5 minus 4. That got a little away from me. 2 minus 5 over 5 minus 4. My slope is going to be negative 3 over 1. And I'm going to use 4 and 5 to fill in. 5 is y. My slope is negative 3. 4 is x. I'm solving for b, so that should be the only variable. 5 equals negative 12 plus b. I want to get b by itself, so I'll add 12 and add 12. That'll cancel it here, and that'll give me 17 equals b. Negative 3 is my slope, 17 is my y-intercept. In my equation, y remains a variable, negative 3 is slope, x remains a variable, 17 is the b. All right, guys, that was a lot. Watch the video again if you need to. You have a practice worksheet to do after this, and I am trusting that you are going to be on your best behavior and be very studious for the remainder of the class period. Don't let me down. I will see you tomorrow.